Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com, and you probably know that one of the things I really believe in is diversity. I believe that a lot of our universities, they speak they say what they're supposed to say when it comes to diversity, but many of them do not put action behind their words. They don't put their money where their mouth is. And one person who is really engaged in this fight is the person that's on the line with me. His name is Dr. Latchin Hatemi. And Dr. Hatemi is really interesting to me because he is at my alma mater, the University of Kentucky, and he is fighting for minorities. He's fighting for people of color, and he's not African American. But he saw that there were some racial disparities in the medical school in particular, but also throughout the university that really needed to be addressed. And he has been relentless in this fight, and I have been very impressed with his tenacity. I have Dr. Hatemi on the line. How you doing, Dr. Hatemi?
Good. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very well. So tell me, first of all, I'd like to know, what do you do? What is your educational professional background?
I'm currently doing a residency, and I used to be a student at University of Kentucky for a long time, actually. I started in 1999. At age 17, I did my undergraduate education, and after I completed that, I started medical school. So I was at University of Kentucky as a student between 1999 and 2009, so almost 10 years I was a student there.
Wow. So you, now you as a student noticed that there were some problems with diversity in the medical school, and you've been very outspoken about some of this, as well as Chester Grundy and some other people that I respect. Can you tell us about some of the issues that you've observed and some of the things that concern you the most?
The American Medical Association made it a priority to actually make the minorities part of medicine, admit a certain number of percentage of minority students to medical schools. And when I started medical school, one of the first things that caught my attention was the minority students were outnumbered significantly, and they were very small numbers. And as I started medical school, I realized, and most of them were my friends, by the way, and as time passed by, I saw every one of them, one by one, falling apart. They have to be leaving the school, sometimes forced to leave the school, and a lot of them held back 1 or 2 years in their education. So a lot of them were not progressing as they're supposed to, almost 90% of them. So that kind of bothered me, and the attitude of the professors against minority students really disturbed me, and I wanted to do something about it. Initially, I thought that we can blame this on certain individual students' failures, or their grades were not good enough. But after a while, I saw a pattern developing, and I realized actually it is beyond individual students. I saw a systematic policy that against minority students. Since I was a part of medical school, I saw it more in medical school, but I'm aware that it has been a widespread across University of Kentucky.
Interesting. So you're saying that after a while you realized it wasn't a matter of unqualified students being held back or being asked to leave, that they sort of had a pattern where it just so happened that the African American students were the ones that were kind of being picked off one by one. That was your perception?
Yes. Actually, the numbers were so outrageous that I felt like I had to do something. If it was 1 or 2 students, I could see a pattern, but it was almost every student was being held back or being kicked out. So it kind of raised question marks. Then when deeper I look into it, I found some certain things. I witnessed certain things happening, and those experiences made me to forced me to explore this more in detail. It was always ending up with the same administrators, and I figured out that the pattern cannot be natural. Actually, there's people behind this kind of dismissal rate. And I've been fighting this almost 5 years now.
Wow. So once you began the fight, you began the fight while you were in medical school, right? And you were a very good student, right? You had very good grades and all that stuff. But so what happened when you brought this issue to the attention of administration? Do you feel that there was retaliation of any sort?
Well, medical school is not necessarily a democratic institution. It's almost a dictatorship when the administrators tell you what to do, when to do, how to do, regardless of your rights as a student. When I start questioning them, when I talk to them about it, they get more aggressive towards me. And they couldn't hurt me with my grades because I was doing very well in medical school. But when I progressed of medical school, interesting things start happening. And I witnessed this happening to other minority students, but I didn't believe it until it started happening to me. I realized my grades were not being reported up to 3-4 months after the completion of classes. I was being graded by professors that I never met before. And it really bothered me that a certain number of students, their grades were being held back, almost 3-4 months. And one class after another, it becomes a pattern, and I start questioning. And then I made frequent visits to the administrator's office about this. I always got these cold answers, and they didn't really could explain why my grades were being held. They were always good grades, but I had to wait 3-4 months while my classmates were getting their grades on time.
Interesting. So, but you continued the fight, and you finished medical school, and now you're working to get the university to make some changes and to reveal some information. So how's the fight gone since medical school the last couple of years? What have been some of the roadblocks, and what have they been cooperative and helpful, or do they remain resistant and defiant? What's going on with that?
Well, they have never been helpful. They put roadblocks in every single corner. When asking questions about the number of African American students in medical school, their retention rates, they never gave us an answer. They always said that was not their duty to give us the numbers, the demographics. I said that since I'm an individual and they really don't like me much, probably, I thought that that's probably me. So I had friends, and I asked a trustee of the university to ask the same question. They denied the trustee the access. And then when I asked the NAACP to ask the question, and they officially asked the questions about the black students, they got denied also by the chief of staff at University of Kentucky. So I realized that it was not me. Even the very respectable organizations like NAACP or a trustee of the university, most interestingly, who's supposed to control the university, who's supposed to make executive decisions about and control, audit these administrators, didn't have any power. They were denied access to any information about the black students. And it makes you question why they're hiding all this information.
Yeah, it makes me question, too. That's my alma mater, and I love and I hate that university because I think that it's sad that one of my children attends that school now, and she's facing the same problems that I faced back in 1992. And these were things that the university promised that they were going to fix, and they never did. And here it is 20 years later, and I had a conversation with her about whether or not she should take a stand on a certain political issue, and I said, well, you have to ask yourself this question. Do you want your kids to, 20 years from now, be having the same fights that you're having right now? Because I think that progress comes with struggle. And I've always had a lot of respect for you because you've been so consistent, so diligent. You have approached people who were asleep at the wheel, and you poke them with a stick, and you say, hey, did you see this? Did you see that? And what's interesting, I think, for a lot of people is that you're not African American. What is your background? Where are you from?
I'm actually originally from Turkey.
Yeah, so you're Turkish, and you still feel that this injustice is worth fighting for. I mean, and the thing is that it's not as if you fought the injustice politely, like you gave money to an organization or did something, took one of the easy ways out. A lot of people will do that. They don't want to get in the controversy, but maybe they'll donate a little money or a little time. You actually jumped in the middle of the fight. You've paid a little bit of a price professionally. They're identifying you as a troublemaker. You could have easily sank back into the comfort of being a physician and simply got along with the establishment, but you chose to do what is right. And I think that's something that a lot of people can learn from, and it's certainly something that I admire. Now, where does the fight stand? Who's standing with you, and where does it go from here?
Well, first of all, let me explain the first question, why I'm interested in this. Racism is a disease, and it doesn't matter who it affects, because if it affects African Americans, the Turkish will be the next, or Indians will be the next, or the Asian students will be the next. It never stops. Racism is a disease, and it's never isolated to one group. So the world is not a dangerous place because of the bad people. It's a dangerous place because of the good people who doesn't do anything about it.
Wow.
I don't think everybody is bad, but a small number of people who are in power, they want to keep their power, and they don't want to see progress developing. And I got your support so far. I got support from some media people, some very powerful, influential bloggers in Kentucky. I got the NAACP at this point as a supporter. And I have some more high-profile people within the administration that I don't want to reveal their identity at this point. But I have some support. We are fighting the bad guys, and we're going to win. It will be a long battle, but slowly we are going to win. And if that data about the African-American students, the retention rates come out, there's a reason they're hiding it. When that gets exposed and publicized, and hopefully one day we will achieve that, everybody will see the ugly face of racism. These are very simple numbers, and when you see 90% of the black medical students being kicked out or held back, it makes you question who's behind this, and it makes you question if KKK is still alive, just hiding behind the administrators' desks. And it is a disease we need to clean. It's a cancer that we need to dissect and get rid of.
Wow. Well, I love it, and I know that the world is a better place because of the work that you're doing. And I commend you, with all my heart, and I think that this is something that future generations will benefit from. Unfortunately, people don't always thank you for the contributions you make, but there are contributions that other people have made to clear the way for us. So I want to thank you for your great work. Thank you so much.
Thank you for this interview.
Absolutely, and I want to say also thank you to those of you who are listening. And remember what Dr. Hatemi said, and I think that's very important. That evil prevails, and we're not the first ones to say this. You've heard this before. That evil prevails when good men and women do nothing. So when we see things that are happening around us, just opportunity and an obligation to do what is right. You don't have to pick every single fight, but you better pick a fight, and you better be ready to fight until the very end. Because if you don't, then what will happen is you will live and you will die, and no one will know or care that you were ever here. So don't just live a life with purpose. Well, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from YourBlackWorld.com, and until we meet again, please stay strong.